Hey, I'm Alex Macklin from Board Game Co, and this is Two Back or Not to Back, where we're going to go through a variety of crowdfunding campaigns, talking about the games, the campaigns, the stretch goals, the add-ons, all of that and more. And today we have 16 campaigns for you to go through. 16 campaigns, which is a lot of campaigns, considering the fact that a month is 4.5 weeks-ish. That means you're looking at, what is that, 32, 64, 72 roughly campaigns for you to be aware of over the course of any given month. Although, of course, that's just an average from this 1 week, and that's a random little spiel that I've never really done before. I don't know why I decided to do it today. I couldn't really tell you. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive into the campaigns, but as usual, before we do, let's go ahead and start off with our Cult of the Now. As much as we're going to go ahead and look at a bunch of crowdfunding campaigns that are going to be taking a lot of money from a lot of people, there are great games available in retail now. Cult of the Now, as a reminder, is a segment where I remind you, you can get your hands on great games that are feel deluxe, feel premium, and they don't have to cost an arm and a leg. Right now, we have $35 for Reef Project over on Game Nerds, coming to you from Board and Dice. I've had a chance to play this one. I already think well of it. I need to play it more and then we'll have a full review of it, but as of right now, I still do enjoy it. I enjoy it after my first play, but this is Reef Project from Board and Dice. You can go ahead and check this game out now. You can check out reviews for it now. You can check out playthroughs for it now. I assume someone's probably got a playthrough up. You can go ahead and buy it now and not wait a year and a half for it to show up and not pay, $100 for a Euro game on Game Nerds, because it's not a crowdfunding game, it's a regular retail game. You can just go ahead and get those right now. They're easy. They're so much easier. They're not always the same, though, which is why we're going to go ahead and dive into these 16 campaigns. And we're going to start off with Harakiri, Blades of Honor reprint, and Souls of Yomi. 380,000 euro raise, 1,956 backers currently, 5 days left to go. Coming to you from Synergy Games, Harakiri Blades of Honor. This is a reprint and expansion, bringing you back the campaign game, Harakiri Blades of Honor, bringing you back all the various expansions that were in the original campaign, and then also bringing you the Souls of Yomi additional expansion, which gives you a new little campaign, as well as some additional elements being added to the game, including characters and other mechanics being added as well. The general idea of Harakiri Blades of Honor is it's a campaign game with an overland and a adventure mode. So I can't remember the exact names, but I think there's an adventure and exploration are the modes of the game, if I recall correctly. There's going to be an overland area where you're wandering around, engaging with the world, engaging in story, but then you're going to be diving into these dungeon crawls. You can see this on the screen right now. You can see these larger overland maps, and then you can see these individual maps over here that are going to be more of the dungeon crawl element, where you dive in and go through a bit of a dungeon crawler-esque kind of gameplay after going through the overland adventure that is this campaign. So it's playing on multiple levels as you go through it. The campaign comes with an absolute ton of content. It's currently, by the way, being received very well. It's rated an 8.8 over on Board Game Geek as of right now. Obviously, they're showing all the 10s, the 9s, all the high praise. There's lots of high praise for the game. The original campaign already landed, obviously, which is why you have all these reviews, and that's why they're doing this reprint and expansion now. So those of you who missed out the first time round can go ahead and get the game. Those of you who wanted to wait, just like I mentioned in Cult of the Now, those of you who wanted to wait to see what more feedback experience was, those of you who didn't know about the original game, you have the opportunity to go and get your hands on the reprint with all the various content, as well as the expansion, the Souls of Yomi, and they give you a bunch of pledge levels to go ahead and give you whatever it is you want for that. We have the new economy pledge over here for $299, at 299 euro. That's going to be all the gameplay content for the game. We have the Souls of Yomi plus Enma expansion free update pack. That's 89 euro for the game. That's going to be all the new stuff for the campaign over here. We have the new Ronin pledge for 149 euro, which is going to give you the original game pledge for it. And then we have the 449 euro, which gives you basically almost everything over here. Gameplay content, add-ons, all the various things for the game. Sleeves, playmats, whatever it is. I don't know if there are playmats, so take that with a grain of salt over here. Let's actually click through over here and see what we got. We got the Enma expansion. We have the premium sleeves, the art book, the dice set, the metal coins, so no playmats, but all the other various deluxe things you can get over there. As far as show you back or show you not, will it hold its value? Overall, so far, this one does look like it's mostly held its value. Meaning, people who back this one, in general, they're getting what they paid for back. Maybe they're losing a bit on shipping. For the most part, though, it looks like the secondhand market on this one is giving people roughly what they paid for back on this one. So if you do back this game, if you find it's not a game for you, you can go ahead and probably get most of your money back and have been able to try and see if this is a game for you along the way. And of course, if you love it, well, then there's a whole lot of game for you to love over here. There's so much content for this over here. Let's go and actually look at the Souls of Yomi briefly over here. Souls of Yomi. Souls of Yomi is going to be giving you a new campaign, 12 new chapters, new mechanics, dice, skills, events, and locations, giving you new characters, new abilities and new classes, new actions, new negative conditions for the characters, new key dice, new vulnerability system, enabling characters to affect even the strongest enemies by modifying their actions successfully when successfully provoking the right condition, and a new corruption system lets you alter attacks received, but at the risk of being an easier target in the future. And that's basically what we have for the Souls of Yomi expansion over here. So that's Harakiri, Blades of Honor. Moving on over here, we have Pax Porfiriana Ultimate Edition by Games Design. This is one where I won't be focusing on how it plays because, speaking frankly, I never fully track this whole genre, the whole like heavy Euro categories from me and game design. I usually have a harder time tracking what those are doing as far as what the overall gameplay is like. Pax Porfiriana is an older title. They've had a deluxe edition, they've had the original edition, deluxe edition, and now they have the ultimate edition over here. 506 backers, 66,000 euro raise, 7 days left to go. This is bringing you, well, like it says, the new ultimate edition, giving you a bunch of things as far as what you're getting over here. The collector's version ultimate, you're getting new cards for the game, so a brand new era 2 set that extends the gameplay. You're getting new components for the game, and then you're getting the portable perfection, maintaining that small box size, or actually a smaller, more portable box size to honor the game's original edition easy to carry design. But you're getting all of that for, well, there's a few pricing levels here depending on what you want to get your hands on. We have the Pax collection for the complete experience for all in of a bunch of games, Pax Vikings, Pax Renaissance, and Pax Porfiriana. We have the Vikings era over here for 79 euro. We have the Renaissance era for 79 euro, and they have Presidente Supremo for 89 euro, which I did find interesting, just the tiers of the way these are structured. Like the main game in this campaign, you can only get as part of a bundle up front, and then you have to like wait till it's the third game over here. Again, I would have put these other two lower or as add-ons, but either way, small semantics. But President Supremo for 89 euro over here, and the all-in giving you that insert as well for 99 euro for the game. As far as should you actually not will hold its value, the original PAX collector's editions are going for like $60-$70 on the second-hand market right now, and once you factor in shipping as well, an additional 20 euro on top of that 90 euro price point, you're looking at 110 euro, which is nearly twice the price point of what the collector's edition is going for on the original game. This is a game that has a lot of lineage or whatnot. People do want to hunt it down when it goes out of print and stuff like that, but I do have a hard time believing that the price point is going to maintain at 110 euro. Again, the price plus shipping what you're getting for this game, I have a hard time believing the second-hand market is going to support that price just based on what the second-hand market is currently supporting for this game. So as far as should you actually not will hold this value, I'm a little more skeptical that it will. Moving on, we have Ecologic Ecosystem from Ecologic. 70,000 euro raise, 893 backers, 9 days left to go. Ecologic is giving you a habitat game where you're going to be playing cards into a grid, trying to fill various habitats, scoring various points, and they have a testimonial on the page over here. It's not just another boring educational game. The game is really addictive and more so than the best titles in the market. In fact, we get to know the natural by accident, which would be a great testimonial except it's from the actual designer of the game. So it does say that here. To be fair, it does say that in the testimonial, but I did find it a little amusing that the testimonial on the page is the designer who likes his own game, which he should. Good for him for liking the game. I just think it carries less weight with me personally. Not carries no weight, carries, I mean, actually that's an interesting conversation. Do you think there are designers who create games and then are like, nope, not that good a game, let's move on to the next one? Like, I have to imagine, like, if you create, like, 15, 20, if you're a game designer, you're watching this, I'd be fascinated to know your opinion here. If you create, 20, 30 games, do you have an awareness of which ones, like, you just don't think are that good? Like, hey, I had a good idea, I took it far enough that we decided to finish it, it finished, it sold, it's okay, not my proudest game, but like, hey, like, gotta make games, right? So like, I wonder if designers, like if you take me and my videos, like there are videos that I am very proud of on this channel. There are videos that I'm very, very proud of. And then there are videos that are just like, the normal day-to-day. And then there's some videos that I'm a little bit like, I don't know if I like how that video turned out, but like, and some of them I scrap, by the way. Sometimes I scrap them. Other times I'm just like, whatever, I'll put it out. And so I wonder if there's your own awareness around a game that you create. I do wonder that now. So this is a side tangent over here. Anyways, Ecologic over here. Ecologic, the first pledge over here for 65 euro. But you should note over here, this includes the expansions below it. So you see over here, we have the coastal habitat expansion, the mountain expansion, and the human habitat expansion. The way these are structured, at first glance, it almost looks like they're not in the pledge over here, but they are in this pledge. These arguably should have been structured as add-ons, not pledges. Like right now, you can buy the coastal habitat expansion on its own without a base game. You wouldn't have a base game, but you could buy that on its own if you want to. And so over here, this is going to give you the base game plus all the expansions, which is very reasonably priced, I will say. The price point on that, the 65 euro over here, I believe shipping wasn't that expensive. Let me see if I can find shipping over here. Or was shipping not listed? I remember seeing shipping, but I could be wrong. Here you go. Shipping over here, no risks and challenges. Price does not cover shipping costs. USA and Canada, 20 euros, so nothing too crazy, and cheaper depending on where you are. So overall, the price point of this seems pretty decent for the amount of content you're getting. The game, on the other hand, whether it's a good game or not, is a different conversation, design and testimonial notwithstanding. The general idea of the game seems to be you're going to be gathering various habitats. There's 5 in the base game, there's additional ones being added by the expansions. Each player is going to have four habitats picked for them, and then you're trying to put the animals into the habitats, being mindful of which animals want to go where, and trying to trade with the market to get the right animals, and then just take advantage of the natural synergies as far as how everything goes. Which, again, this core concept has been done before. I mean, at the most basic, this game feels like a Wingspan clone. At the most basic, not necessarily does not mean it's a Wingspan clone itself, although I will say having the main video on the channel, having Tapestry in the background as another Stone Matter game, it does make you wonder a little bit, but it does seem to be leaning into a bit what Wingspan is doing, just from the way the cards look, from the way the habitats look, from the rows of cards. It might be totally different gameplay, but at a glance it kind of feels like it's leaning into a Wingspan adjacent gameplay, which again, nothing wrong with that inherently. The question is, does it deliver? And that part I just don't know about. As far as should you back, should you not, will it hold its value? Hard to say over here. At 900 backers for a first-time creator, definitely not a small thing at all. So kudos to that. Kudos to them overall for doing well enough to pull those people in. Definitely helped having an early bird over here, which was a discount on that early bird price, which is already competitively priced, but bringing it down to €52, I think is even better over there. Although of course it'll make future backers having a little harder time deciding whether to jump in now that the price is higher. So always a bit of a give and take with those. But ultimately, as far as should you back, should you not, will it hold its value? I definitely put this in the risk category. It kind of depends on whether the game is good. If the game is good, the price point for what you're getting is pretty reasonable. If the game is not good, well, $85 to get a not good game is, well, no one's idea of a good time. Moving on over here, we have Twisted Cryptids over here. Twisted Cryptids from Remy Batty over here, from Unstable Games, Unstable Unicorns, Unstable Games, T-Turtle, all that stuff. $1.6 million raised, 17,000 backers, 8 days to go. Twisted Cryptids brings you cryptids to your tabletop. As players take on the role of various cryptids in the game, trying to sort of evade, they're trying to deal with their natural communication with the humans, which is to say that sometimes you leave a little trash can in the corner and someone wonders if the Yeti was there that night, and other times someone gets a snapshot of a tired Yeti in the morning who hasn't had their coffee. You're basically trying to be mindful of where the humans are going to be appearing in the game, and then having certain types of cards in certain areas, either like the deceit of, well, I can actually scroll down and show you, which is probably worth doing, although you'll have to scroll very far because this entire page is structured in order to sell you. So you have to go pretty far down until you get to the gameplay part. Let's go to the how to play down here. I'm going to skip all that scrolling. There's a lot of stuff to show you. But the how to play over here, you're basically trying to be mindful of the humans over here and then leaving hoaxes, decoys, and silhouettes. So you have a silhouette just out of reach, or a stick figure decoy, or hoax, Mr. Whiskers instead. And then instead, you have the actual Mothman down here, the seeing red, the real deal. You actually see the Mothman captured in the, flashlight, photograph, whatever it is. So you are playing a bit of a game over here. Has great art over here, which is typical from T-Turtle and from Unstable Games. But in general, just you're taking on cryptids, trying to be mindful of the humans, trying to predict and plan where the humans are, trying to plan around it, and basically trying to do all that. Now, there's an expansion as well that adds more depth to the experience, but that's the core basic structure. As far as pledge levels over here, there's a lot to go through because there's a lot in this game. There's going to be the basic game idea. Let's actually scroll on the sidebar over here. Let's see, should I show the sidebar or should I go add-ons? Let me see what you get over here. Let's go to over here, what you get. So for $29, you get the Kickstarter exclusive edition of the game over here. For $39, you get the game and expansion. That's going to be the little expansion added on. The Cryptid Culture over here. See that cult highlighted? That's cute, that's cute. We have the deluxe bundle for $139. It's going to give you all of that, but it's also going to give you these over here, the Twisted Cryptids, the playmats. It's giving you the playmats over here, so 10 unique playmats for each of the cryptids in the game. They said they will not be releasing more cryptids. They do have surprises and add-ons for stretch goals, but they said as far as gameplay content, they're doing it all up front, which is something that they've experimented with different ways at different games in the past. For $199, you get all of that as well, but you also get the Twisted Cryptids, these 10, acrylic, are they acrylic? I think acrylic, but not standees, acrylic miniatures or whatnot, being added to the game. If you back Casting Shadows, you know what these things look like. They are very premium. They would cost $100 on their own, but if you're bumping up your pledge, it's only an extra $60. So you're already looking at $200, and this is not even the all-in. It's the all-in as far as pledges go, but it's not the all-in because there's also lots of add-ons. There's going to be, over here, let's scroll into the extra things over here. We have the double-sided cryptic acrylic standees. We have the acrylic playmats, those are all part of that. We have down here the former backer gift Nostalgic Wilderness board. This board is going to incorporate elements for their previous games. All you have to do to get that is either pay $10 or be a backer of one of their previous games and back with the same account over here. We have 50 Twisted Cryptids glow-in-the-dark collectible pin sets over here. So if you want, 10 of these pins, $5 a piece for glow-in-the-dark pins. We have $10 each for the Twisted Cryptids 4-inch reversible cryptid plushies. Again, T-Turtle does these plushies over here. You've seen them before. These are going to be reversible plushies that are just, little cryptids over here. And then over here we have $15 for the Twisted Cryptids Wilderness Craft Kit to go ahead and gather stickers and create your own board and all that stuff. And that's the main stuff over here before you get into additional games. As far as should you back or should you not, will it hold its value? Their games in general do fall into the lighter camp. I haven't actually played Casting Shadows yet. I still need to do so. But I've enjoyed some of their games. In fact, I'd say I've enjoyed most of their games, but usually playing it with my kids. These aren't usually games I pull out at game night, although again, I haven't played all their games, so like maybe Casting Shadows delivers in a way that others don't. I don't know. This looks like it's going to hit in the same general audience, which is good. You should create games for your audience. If you created a game that was right for me, it would probably make 17,000 people very confused as to how complicated their game is. But Twisted Cryptids does look fun. It does look like it leans into the audience, and as far as holding its value, their stuff generally does. The Kickstarter exclusive stuff from the Unstable Games campaigns generally do hold their value in the secondhand market. It's not a hard rule across the board, but especially if you look at Casting Shadows, people are still getting like twice what they paid for the game, twice what they paid for the game on eBay. Generally, you want to look more on eBay than over on BGG in this case, because again, different audiences, but it is the kind of stuff that if you back it, it's not for you. You probably can turn around and sell most of the stuff and get most of your money back, if not more, if not, in some cases, even making a profit. Moving on, we have Parks and Potions. 1,400 backers, $72,000 raised, 10 days to go. Parks and Potions, first-time creator of Moon Saga Workshop. This is going to be a game of gathering, well, potions, and then trying to combine potions and trying to heal various animals. That's all before you get to the various, the expansion stuff over here. But the general idea over here is you have gorgeous art with these various characters over here. You're trying to get them potions. You're going to be gathering potions, rolling dice, gathering various potions, mixing and matching to go ahead and create the right potion ingredients that you need, and then combining and delivering them to cure the various animals. That's the core idea of the base game. The expansion will add more complexity to the game. Speaking of expansion over here, the core game was going to be $30 for the core game, not too expensive, very reasonably priced, and the expansion is going to be $60, giving you a Parks and Potions Deluxe Bundle. If we go over here to the pledge levels and scroll down, we have $30 for the base pledge, $60 giving you 135 acrylic potion tokens, 18 wooden extract tokens, and then the 1 metal first player token, as well as the deluxe box sleeve, all of that for $30, which isn't that crazy of a price point, but it's also doubling the price of the game. That said, you are looking at paying shipping either way, so it's not technically doubling because shipping is going to run you around $10 over here, $10 to $15 for the game. So you're looking at between $40 to $45 for the game, and then between, what's the math in that, $70 to $75 for the expansion, which again is still bumping up the price point. Oh, not the expansion, the deluxe edition content and all of that. That's basically what you got as far as the game goes. For add-ons over here, we have the Potion Perils, $15 for the Potion Perils expansion, adding you more content to the game, giving you a bunch of modules and things you can mix in over there, and that's the core idea of what you got on this page over here. So as far as should you back or should you not, will hold its value. Again, similar to Ecologic, this one is at least, again, it's doing fairly well for a first-time creator, 1,300 backers, everything looks great, looks premium, looks beautiful, the art looks good, the components look good, the deluxe stuff, all that stuff looks great. The main question here over here, and then again, like Ecologic, it's reasonably priced. In this case, Ecologic focused more on just expansion content. This one's a little bit of a hybrid. There's some expansion content in, there's also some deluxe content over there. Pick your poison, figure out what's good for you over there. But as far as should you back or should you not, will hold its value. Again, definitely in the risk category. I think that it's less likely to overall, as far as, I think this is one that's more likely to actually pick up a partner and see retail distribution. I think it has that kind of appeal to it, but I'm not as confident whether it'll hold its value overall. But again, if it is a blowout hit, then everything changes in that case. Moving on over here, we have Citizens of the Spark, 1,000 backers, dead even, 1,000 backers, $44,000 raised, 9 days to go. Citizens of the Spark, 1,001 backers, it's ruined now, it's all over. Citizens of the Spark from Thunderworks Games over here. Their newest campaign, Thunderworks Games, famous for cartographers, roleplay adventures, roleplayer, all of those games, and a whole bunch of others. Those are the ones that make them more famous. But Citizens of Spark is a drafting game of clever combos. You can check out content on the channel for this one. I really like this game. I think it's very solid. Lots of card combining. If you like games like Dominion, this scratches that itch. A very satisfying experience. But the general idea of the game is in Citizens of Spark, you're going to have 30 animal combinations, plus some if you get the Kickstarter stuff over here. But you have 30 animal combinations. You're going to be picking a certain number depending on the player count. You're going to be picking some animals and then shuffling them all together. And then players are going to be mixing and matching the abilities of the animals to try to build up a tableau that rewards them the most while punishing their opponents the most. There's some take that in the game, not a ton of it, but you also could remove the cards that do take that if take that is not your thing. So the game lets you build and accommodate and make it a flexible experience to be whatever it is you want to. That math over here, 300 cards, gives you 30 million possible card combinations for the game. I did the math on this. This is true. It's like 30 million and like 100,000, something like that, some crazy number. Although I will say, if you back it on crowdfunding, they're going to give you an extra 3 cards. You're going to get, a few things, we'll talk about what they are, but you can basically get an extra 3 sets of cards. So you get 3 more animals. So instead of having, 30 animals, you're going to have 33 animals. Is that the math right? I think that math's right. Which actually brings your math to 9 million, okay? So I know it seems like, sorry, not 30 million, 30 million to 90 million. It completely goes insane as far as the math that it jumps up on there as far as the combinations. So, lots of combinations, because, 30 million times, that's 30 million plays you could probably do. 90 million, that's a little out of reach. That's basically what you got as far as the game over here. So if you have the exclusive item, you have the transmission pack, which is 36 cards, 30 for the packs over there, 3 for the randomizer cards, and 3 scintilla cards, as well as 3 dividers, the scintilla cards being for solo play. Over here for the pledge levels over here, you have the $40 for the game. This is in the Spark and Transmission pack. You'll be looking at shipping as well, so that $40 is going to jump to around $48. And then for the expansion over here, the game plus playmat is going to be $55, and that's giving you the base game, and then the playmat on top of it. So you're paying an extra $15 to get the playmat. My own 2 cents from playing the game, I don't know if I'd care about the playmat. And I'm someone who likes playmats. I don't like to deal with the storage of it. In this particular case, I feel the playmat is gratuitous, unnecessary. Like, I don't even know if I'd want that playmat. Like, meaning, my usual rule with playmats is if I like a playmat, if I can fit in the box, I usually want it because I think playmats are cool. This is a game I just don't think it's needed in any way, shape, or form. Even if it was included in the box, like I wouldn't throw it out, but I just don't know if I'd need it. Just in case that affects your decision whether to save $15 or not. Obviously, your experience might be different. I'm just giving you my experience because if it saves you money, well, you're welcome. And if it doesn't, well, you can tell me later. Tell me down the road. If you're watching this in the future, or if you remember this in the future and you got the playmat and you think it added value to you, let me know. And if you got the playmat anyway, despite what I'm saying, and you think it didn't add value, let me know that too. I expect to see a bunch of comments here in like a year or so. I'd be very, very curious. Anyways, that's basically going to be, will it hold its value? Should you back, should you not, will it hold its value? So the short version is, as far as the game itself, usually not. With Thunderworks games, they have fairly consistent retail releases. You'll be able to get Citizen of the Spark for less than the price of what you're paying on crowdfunding, and also save on shipping. So you're usually not getting that much extra. You get the transmission pack, you'll save money if you get it down the road, you'll save money on shipping, you'll save money on the price of the game. So in that case, on all those areas, no, it won't hold its value and you can get it cheaper. The main question is that transmission pack, because usually when you're looking at saving and getting it down the road, you're saving somewhere between $10 to $15. So for you personally, is the transmission pack worth that $10 to $15? That's a question you can answer for yourself. It is some extra variety. I do like extra variety in games like this. Do you like it to the tune of $10 to $15? That is an entirely different question, and I'll let you decide that on your own. Moving on over here, we have the Bird series. The Bird series from Rose Gauntlet Entertainment. $43,000 raised, 430 backers, 9 days left to go. The Bird series is a series of 4 games, all related to birds. Penguins are birds too, they count. But we have 4 different birds, 4 different bird-themed small box games from Rose Gauntlet Entertainment, who have brought you a Keystone series, as well as, oh my gosh, the other game that I'm blanking, Wild Gardens as well, which I have played, and I still need to review, and I haven't actually filmed the review yet, but I should do that soon. Anyways, the Bird series, a set of 4 games as unique as the majestic creatures they were inspired by. That might be that's half true. That is half true. One of the games, Rook Requiem, is literally a reprint. Birds on Birds is basically animals on animals, and Pebbles and Flock, those are a bit more unique. Not to say you don't need Birds on Birds and Rook Requiem. In fact, Rook Requiem is the best version of Rook you'll ever see. I'm just calling out the word unique over there, unless it means unique from each other, in which case, sure. We have Flock over here. Find your flock and go home to roost. This is basically, oh, I forgot, and this is Rummy. This one's basically Rummy. So Flock is a Rummy-inspired game. It's basically going to be based on the general Rummy system of creating a runs or pairs of cards, some small rules adjustments to make it unique and special to itself, but effectively it is a Rummy style game with just fun artwork. So if you like Rummy and you want fun artwork, that game's for you. Pebbles is going to lean into the area control. This is going to be the penguins of the group over here, leaning into a little area control puzzle. Birds on Birds is effectively animals on animals, but again with differences. Not just animals on animals, it is going to be birds on birds, which is already different, but then there's also some rules adjustments as far as how the scoring works to make it a bit more gamified. So if you want that over there, that's going to be over here with chonky wooden pieces. And if you want Rook Requiem is going to be a trick-taking game with a lot of little variety to the individual rounds, how they play out. If you played Rebel Princess and you like that, it kind of has that element where you have different rule sets in play. But this is the best looking version of Rook I have ever seen. Rook is a game that's been around for quite some time. It's been around for a lot of iterations, and they all look like hot garbage. This looks absolutely beautiful, so kudos to them for putting out a version of Rook that I actually want to own. For the price point over here, all 4 games are going to run you $100 to get all 4 games. The Gamers Bundle is going to be $160. What you're basically getting there is you're getting the extra premium components for each game for an extra $60 over there, all adding different stuff. You can go through the add-ons and see individually what they are. Then we have the all-in bundle for $260, which gives you not just the games and the deluxe components, but also the over-the-top components like bags and art prints and stuffies and all these other things. That's going to be an extra $100, but it's going to load you up with all the various things you could possibly want for any of these games. As far as should you back it, shipping over here. Shipping is going to run you, where is it over here? Shipping and taxes. One game is going to run you $14. All 4 games are going to run you around $20. So you add that to your price point, your $100 became $120, and then upwards and onwards and all that. As far as should you back it, should you not, will hold its value. value? I'm skeptical it will. These are all small box games. Small box games historically have a harder time holding their value, and even if you're at the cheapest price point, if you don't get all the deluxe stuff, you're looking at $120, which runs you around $30 per game for what are a bunch of smaller box games. I like Rose Gauntlet Entertainment. They make great games, they make beautiful games, they make well-produced games with lots of chunky, beautiful components. I do think these are less likely to hold their value overall. In fact, even considering some of their previous games, they haven't done as well in the second-hand market. I think that's likely to be true here as well. I think they all look beautiful, but I think that waiting for the second-hand market or waiting for retail is likely your better bet overall. Moving on over here, we have Nature, a redesign of the award-winning Evolution board game series. From North Star Entertainment, we have 3,875 backers, $495,000 raised, 11 days to go. North Star Games brings you Nature, which is the pinnacle of their Evolution series. They had Evolution, then they had Ocean. Well, they had Evolution, they had Evolution expansions like Flight, they had Evolution Climate, they had Oceans Deluxe, and now they have Nature, including 5 expansion modules. Having played every single version of those games, I've played Evolution, I've played Evolution Climate, I've played Ocean, I've played the Deluxe Ocean, I've played actually Evolution something else, Evolution of New World, that was called. I've even played the offshoot one from Crowd D Games. Again, these are all based on the original Evolution, which is a whole different conversation, but I've played a lot of iterations and versions of Evolution, and I can safely say without a doubt in my mind that Nature is my favorite version of all of them. It doesn't mean that it's a smash hit for you and you should absolutely get it, but I do think it's the best version of it, primarily because of the variety that it adds to the game. You see, Evolution is a core concept, and this is going to be true for Nature as well, so everything I say right now about Evolution is true to Nature. The idea of the game is basically you're trying to build species, and then you're building species, and you're trying to make your species larger and more of them, so you're trying to grow their size and their population. And you're trying to do that while trying to feed them, because feeding them is ultimately how you get points. But you also need playing traits to your species, various traits that will do different things, like you're fast, or you can climb trees, or you can hunt and kill things, different kinds of stuff that will go onto your species. This is all true of Nature, of Evolution, of Oceans. This is so far all true. But then the game becomes a bit of a rock, paper, scissors game of, oh, you played climbing? Well, I can't hunt you now because you can climb trees. Wait, look at that. My predator has climbing too. Now I can climb trees. Oh, wait, look, now you blend into the background. Can I get you? It's a constant game of trying to outpace your opponents to try to either get more food from the watering hole or be a better predator or be harder to catch as prey, trying to balance all these things as you play traits to your cards. Which means the game system has always been fun for me. I've always enjoyed the Nature system, but the big problem it has is it becomes not necessarily solvable, but you fall into these patterns as you play, and those patterns make the game a little less fun as you go through it. Nature solves that by having an expansion module-based system. So what you do is you mix together 1 or 2 modules. Theoretically, you can do more. They recommend 1 or 2. From my own experience, I'd say I'd probably stick to 1 or 2 until you feel you really want that chaos and craziness, in which case you have fun. But basically, you can mix together 1 or 2 modules, and those modules will mix up the experience. So if you think you got a feel for how Nature works, great. Do you have a feel for how Nature works when you're playing with Flight and with, large creatures, whatever it is? Or if you're playing with natural disasters and the cold tundra, Arctic tundra, do you have a feel for how those games combine as you mix and match different things? And so for me, Nature is the best version of the series because it kind of breaks that, not solvability, but the repetitiveness of what you're doing, and replaces it with an actual game experience that's going to be a lot more fun to go through because of how modular it is. Either way, you can check out my full review on the subject, but I have a full review on the game, but this overall is the best version of the Nature system. That said, it's not cheap over here, because the game over here is going to run you a few different options over here. We have $10 for the digital version of the game, we have $30 for the digital plus all modules version of the game, then we have $39 for the Nature over here. That is just the base game, not with any modules. Speaking frankly, I do not recommend you get this. I think if you're getting this, you're not getting a great game. It's not a bad game, it's a good game, but it's certainly not a great game. At this point, all the other versions of Evolution that have existed until now are fine. The only reason to get the base game would be if you're like, hey, if I like it, I'll buy the modules down the road. That would be a reason to get it. Otherwise, I'd recommend staying away from that. For $109, you have the Nature Big Box. This is going to give you all the modules over here, as well as all the promo packs for all the modules. And there are some reasons to get this over here, but this is where you can see already the entry point to the game effectively is not cheap. It's $109. Supposedly you're saving $120 from MSRP. I have a hard time believing this will cost you $122 overall, but there are some extras in here as well, so we'll see. We have the Nature Big Box Deluxe for $159. That gives you upgraded Nature tokens, upgraded module tokens, and Predator meeples over here, so extra stuff being added to your game, up from this pledge over here. And then we have $184, which gives you all the stuff, but additionally, it also gives you the full digital version of the the game for $184, and that's basically what you're looking at over here. As far as why back now, because I actually think that why back now is very relevant, they have a why back now, which gives you a few reasons. The first of all is the staggered pacing of the game, the staggered release of the game is plans that they're going to be releasing the various modules one at a time. So the Kickstarter is going to be in June 2025. In retail, you're going to have the base game plus the first 2 expansions in August. Then in Q4, you're going to have 2 expansions, and in Q2 2026, sorry, in Q4 2025, you'll have the expansions, and Q2 2026, you'll have the Rainforest expansion being added, which means if you wanted all the modules that are currently available, you might find yourself waiting an additional 6 months, if not more, to be able to get your hands on all that stuff. And for many of you, you're like, well, if I want the game, I kind of want all the stuff now. That is already a good reason. Additionally, they are they're supposedly MSRP discounts. I don't know how much they'll actually play out as far as the actual MSRP down the road, but there are extra components and extra promo packs. So there's promo packs and stuff like that that are being added. Each module has a promo pack being added to the game, giving you various MSRP additional boosts to the game. But again, if you want that variety, if you want those things, that is a nice thing to have. As far as should you back or should you not, will hold its value. This is definitely a hard one overall, primarily because this is a not cheap game because they're basically giving you a base game and multiple expansions all together all at once in a way that adds up very quickly. As far as the digital stuff over there, in general, I wouldn't pay $30 for this. I feel most digital games usually go on sale pretty quickly, pretty regularly, and so if you wanted the digital version of Nature, I'm sure there's ways to get your hands on it. I am happy to see there is a digital version of Nature because I might find myself playing it more that way. But anyway, past that, as far as the base game itself, or as far as the physical game, I think that the game is definitely expensive. I think that previously Evolution and Oceans and other versions of the game, they have not always done a great job holding their value. Sometimes, like Oceans did when you first arrived, so it definitely had some degree of value hold, but for the most part, especially longer term, these games don't do as well, at least until now they haven't done as well. Nature is the penultimate one. It's the redesign, it's his magnum opus and whatnot. It is the game that he plans on working on adding more and more modules. There's going to be even more modules being added to this game, so you expect to see a long lifetime for the game, and I think it will do well because I think it is the best version of Evolution so far. But ultimately, I think it's also expensive, so I have a harder time seeing whether this will or won't hold its value. For right now, my advice would be to focus more on what you're getting from it and whether it's worth it for you, and that's basically going to be Nature and expansions from North Star Games. Moving on, we have MonToons, Clash of the Coral Isles, 186 backers, $1,900 raised, 11 days to go. MonToons is basically a roll and write dice throne-esque kind of game. You're basically going to be picking a faction, rolling dice, assigning to various abilities, powering up in different ways, and taking each other out on this board, while also possibly going for the various side victory conditions. There's other ways to win the game. It's basically a roll and write. It's basically a roll and write game of trying to take advantage of your faction's unique abilities and take advantage of the area control elements of the board to try to basically, not really area control, more skirmish game elements on the board to try to win before your opponents. Base game is going to be $5 for the base game for the Coral Warrior over here. The Coral Guardian for $19 gives you new digital maps as well, in addition to the full set of 3D printed care tokens delivered directly to your door. So basically giving you the some of the elements in the game require tokens, which they give you 3D printed STLs for, but alternatively for $19 you can get those delivered directly. And then for Coral Legend, they'll work with you to go ahead and design a new MonToon character, release it as future gameplay content if you want that. Was this just added? I feel like this was just added. This is one of those things, so random fact over here. Sometimes when I'm doing these should you back it or whatnot, or to back or not to back, sometimes I get to a moment in the page where I'm like, I don't recall seeing that before. And I feel that was just added. New goals unlocked, new goals, nope. Did I miss it the first time around? Did I just totally miss it? That's also possible. I'm not entirely sure. Anyways, as far as should you back it, should you not, will it hold its value? It's a print to play. So no, it will not hold its value. You should back it if you're going to play it, and you should not back it if you find yourself not playing the print and play games that you back and don't play. Moving on over here, we have Stardriven Gateway from Rockmana Games. $70,000 raised, 330 backers, 11 days left to go. Stardriven Gateway is a 1 to 4 player game that's going to basically have you wander in the galaxy trying to accomplish whichever mission you're trying to take on. You're going to be dealing with a crew on your own personal player board, playing crew down into your player board, taking advantage of their abilities and their attributes as you go around the galaxy trying to accomplish missions and ultimately achieve victory in this game, which a scenario-based gameplay. There's going to be some co-op, some solo, and then lots of competitive game going on over here. The pledge levels for this game are going to be $149 for the Deluxe Solar Flare Pledge. That's going to be giving you the expansion, the base game, and all the extras over here to the game. We have Stardriven Gateway for $79, the base game alone over here, giving you the competitive episodes along with the Aftermath expansion pack of additional episodes and content. That's basically the Game Found exclusive stuff. And then past that, we have the Sojourner Pledge, which is actually a very fascinating one. For 90 backers currently backing this one, this gives you the opportunity to go ahead and get in on all 3 games in the Stardriven saga, because there's a full Stardriven saga of 3 different games being added to the universe, one of which in particular should be of interest to you, because one of them is going to be, where is it? We have we have Colony, designed by Samuel Bailey from Forbidden Stars, which is a colony building game where you're competing to get elected by the Chancellor, defending from destruction, and scoring different districts. And if you're a fan of Forbidden Stars, that should definitely be of interest to you, because that's a game that you can't get your hands on, and anything designed by him is probably going to be interesting to someone who's a fan of Forbidden Stars. Anyways, that's the basic idea of the game over here as far as the pledge levels as well. As far as should you back or should you not on this one, I'm skeptical it will, especially once you factor in shipping over here, an additional $20 on top of that already high price point. The game is not cheap. I don't think it's necessarily unfairly priced, but it's certainly not cheap, especially if you want to get all of it. And with 334 backers, it's not seeing the audience that it needs to see right now. And as usual, I cover this in all my videos, but usually if a game is not finding its audience on crowdfunding, then it's likely not going to find its audience down the road when you find that it is or isn't a game for you and you're trying to sell or trade it as well. So if this is a game for you, great, that's a different conversation, because the usual flip side of this is if you definitely want this game, because of the low amount of people backing it, if you want to guarantee yourself a copy, this is likely the safest way to get your hands on it. But past that, that's going to be Stardriven Gateway. I don't think this one will hold its value. Moving on, we have Restart. 423 backers, 11 days to go, $38,000 raised. This coming to you from Teetotum Game Studios, who previously did Rome. Rome was it called? Was it called Rome? I think it was called Rome. Let me go click on this now because it's going to bother me otherwise. It was called Age of Rome. I knew Rome sounded too short. Age of Rome. But either way, they're back this time with Restart, and they're back, not just back, but they're back in time. In this game, you can be controlling yourself and your past self as you basically deal with your own personal little, what's you call this, console. You can be dealing with your own little console in the game as you play cards, both for their abilities, as well as trying to create various patterns of the colors. So cards have lots of multi-use cards going on in this game, because you're trying to be mindful of the center area over here, but you're also playing through different modules. You see, the game comes with 4 different modules that plug and play into the game, and the way it works is it's not like a module as an expansion. It's the game needs a center module to work, and then the rest of the game's working one way, and then you plug in a module and it shifts up the game. So effectively, you'll learn the game, but then you'll have 4 different games that you're playing depending on which module you're playing with, and each of them giving you different tweaks to what kind of gameplay system works for you. So for example, in the game over here, let's scroll down, the how to play. You're going to be playing cards to earn actions or victory points. You're going to be moving your adult and child selves around the grid to play cards and create color patterns, because you can have various cards that give you objectives and color patterns, so you're moving things around the grid there. And then in phase 3, this part's modular. So for example, in one module, you'll be rolling and manipulating the dice to research the virus and find the cure. And then in phase 4, you're gathering resources to use in your next turn. So you go through stages 1, 2, and 4, and then phase 3 is a module. So for example, if you want different modules, you can customize the game by playing the Anomia module to move your pawns to vote and win points to restore justice. In the Extinction module, you're making sets of chromosome cards. And the Ocean Realm module, you're writing on the correct spaces on the pad to mark your land and stop global warming. So again, it's a core structure and then different modules that plug and play in different ways to go ahead and add to the experience, giving you a lot of gameplay. The pledge levels for this one's going to run you over here. We have $70 over here. Let's see if we see the pledges over here. Tier analysis over here. Tier analysis for €53, $58 or so. We have the Quantum Pledge, which is basically the core game and just straightforward. For €70, you have the Horror, the core Kickstarter Pledge over here, which gives you the core game. It gives you premium boards, the foldable mind board, and all stretch goals. And then the Cronus All In for €129 or $142 is going to also give you the game mat, the deluxe components, full sleeve packs, and all of those being added in. And you can see over here some various add-ons and like deluxe components, what you're getting over here. And then shipping's going to run you an extra $10, well, it depends where you are. Looking over here, you're going to be running extra €22 up to €26 depending on what you're getting over there for all that stuff, which makes everything not particularly cheap unless you go for one of the cheaper entry levels. You could get this pledge for under $100 for everything if you go for fairly basic, but you can also be spending up to like $180, $200 if you want, well, not 200, 180 or so to get absolutely everything for the game. As far as should you back or should you not will hold its value, looking at Age of Rome from their previous game, that's one where people for the most part were able to get roughly what they paid for it, less a little bit. So they were taking a hit on shipping and then like another 10-20% on the game. If you assume that over here as well, that means this is a game that if you want this game, of course with 425 backers, this is the easiest way to guarantee access to it yourself. But on the other hand, if it's not a game that works for you, this is the one that you'll likely be losing shipping and then an additional 10-20% of value of the game as well if it's not a game that works for you. Moving on, we have Speakeasy, 6,534 backers, $909,000 raised, 11 days to go, coming to you from Eagle Griffin Games and Vital Lacerda and Ian O'Toole. Speakeasy is the newest, well, Vital Lacerda game. In Speakeasy, in the worker placement game, you're going to be basically managing your family over here, trying to take on the role of the mobsters, managing your own Speakeasy, upgrading various things, hiring various goons to take over the to attack mob runners, gain valuable resources, gain an edge over your rivals, accumulate as much money as possible, trying to what's the word for it? You're trying to smuggle money. That's not, it's not smuggle. There's a word for it. You're going to be researching launder. You're going to be laundering your money in the game, trying to be mindful of the fact that there's a cost to that, so taking it back out later is going to be expensive. But it's basically another Vital Lacerda game, supposedly one of the more thematic Vital Lacerda games. As such, this is going to follow a typical Eagle Griffin game, Eagle Griffin campaign for a Vital Lacerda game, in the sense that you're going to get the base game over here, which will be available at retail, but then you're also going to have a few options. You're going to have the Kickstarter version of the game, which gives you a few upgrades, and then you're going to have, if you really want, you can spend, $290 to get an advanced copy of the game, of which 120 people have paid that premium to get this game early for those who really want the game. But outside of that, if you don't want that, you have the basic Kickstarter version of the game for $124 for the basic, giving you the upgraded version of the game, of this game. You also go ahead and get add-ons for various other games from their line of games. They generally do this in the Pledge Manager. They'll give you access to other Vital Lacerda games. Shipping and all of that's going to run you basically $19 for the base game, and then $25 for one extra game, and $40 for two extra games. So if you want to get, Speakeasy plus two Lacerdas, that's going to run you around $40 in shipping. As far as should you back or should you not will hold its value, Lacerda games have always been a tricky one. You can find people who will pay what you paid for this game down the road, even with shipping, but you can also find a lot of these going for, well, basically usually the price point less shipping. It's very common to see Lacerda games going for the crowdfunding price, but that means you did lose on the shipping, and at $20, that means that's what you lost to go ahead and get this game now, if it is a game that doesn't work for you. So overall, if you're a Lacerda fan, you're probably already backing this. If you're not a Lacerda fan, maybe this is the one that pushes you over, and if you are taking a gamble on this one and seeing if it's a game that works for you, well, then you know that you'll probably get most of the money back for it, possibly lose on shipping, or alternatively, you can always try out any of his well-rated, well-loved games, because every Lacerda game that's ever come out has been a good, well-received game. But there are better received games, and there are good received games, and if you are trying Lacerda for the first time, why not try one that is the best rated, which already probably exists? I mean, statistically speaking, it is unlikely that Speakeasy is his best game. That's just stats. That's just how numbers work. So go find his best game and try that first. And if you're a Lacerda fan, you're probably already backing this. Moving on, we have Cloudspire Harbinger. From Trip 3 Games, we have $1 million raised, 3,667 backers, 11 days to go. Cloudspire Harbinger is the last campaign for Cloudspire. This is supposedly the final, well, it says in big bold letters over there, final campaign, so I imagine we will not be seeing more Cloudspire from Chip Theory. Now, they're very clear. They're not sunsetting the line. They're no longer printing Cloudspire, but this might be the last opportunity to get your hands on things that don't sell as well. So if you just want the core Cloudspire experience, they're still making that. That'll still be around. It still sells for them. It's not necessarily one of their best sellers, but it'll still be there. It'll still be around. Whereas if you want some of the more unique things, your options down the road will be secondhand market only, because you might not have a chance to get stuff that they aren't making. Effectively, the things that are less popular, they will not make, and then you can try to hunt it down the secondhand market. So if you want Cloudspire stuff, this is a time to guarantee it. There's also some fun things in this campaign that will make it interesting to those of you who are fans of Cloudspire, or those of you who are just on the fence in general. Although same rules usually apply here. If you haven't gotten or played this game till now, there's another question as to why you're trying it now, and it might just be FOMO. It shouldn't just be FOMO, but it might just be FOMO. As far as the game over here, as far as the campaign, well, we have a lot of things. Let's actually scroll back up, because I do want to show some things over here. We have Cloudspire is going to bring you the Harbinger expansion, giving you new upgrade chips, new market chips, new large Neophyte hex groups, a new scenario booklet with 5 new solo scenarios, all unlocked stretch goals, basically just giving you some more content for the game. But it's also coming to you with 3 new factions. We have the Shada, which is going to be relying heavily on the terrain of the game. They're all going to have different ways that they implement with the terrain, and different ways they can travel over certain terrain. You're going to have the Graft, which kind of is a amalgamation of various factions, pulling together just the stuff they've pulled in and sucked in. So you're going to see abilities and things from other factions. They're also going to be able to pop out elite units. And then we're going to have the Keel. The Keel is going to be operating very heavily around spires, so they're going to be very heavily interacting with spires. All units, spires are basically the tower defense. I probably didn't tell you what Cloudspire is. Cloudspire is a tower defense game, sort of. It's a tower defense slash MOBA style game, in which in the game you're going to have your faction. You're also going to have spires. You are going to be trying to create spires to shoot down your opponent's units as they march towards you. Meanwhile, you're trying to buffer up your units to march towards your opponent. Somewhere along the way, your opponent's units will clash in different ways and kill each other, and eventually one team might be able to make their way to the other tower with enough units to start dealing damage and taking down the base. Rinse and repeat across 4 rounds of play, or until someone's the winner. That's basically going to be Cloudspire. There's also solo scenarios where you play against, well, a solo campaign, not really campaign, solo scenarios to go through, and there's the 2-player cooperative scenarios as well to go through, so basically lots of ways to play through this game. Now that we've covered that, the Keel over here are going to be interacting with the spires, which are the towers you're going to be building, so you're going to be operating more heavily with that. We have new miniatures for the game. These, personally, my own 2 cents, is I don't find these to be that great in the game. I think Cloudspire is an excellent, amazing game that I have not reviewed on the channel, but I probably should, but it's an excellent, amazing game, and I think these miniatures are not they're not my favorite. I think Chip 3 makes a lot of lovely things, and I'm sure there's an audience for these. I'm not that audience. Then we have the Cloud Storage over here, which I think is such a funny name, the Cloud Storage. That's like, Chip 3, whichever one of you came up with that title, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. The Cloud Storage is basically going to be like the Trove Chest for Too Many Bones, except this one's called Cloud Storage, which is an amazing name that I cannot get over. But the Cloud Storage is basically going to be a all-in-one stop for storing your game, although technically there's going to be a second box if you have the miniatures. So if you do have the miniatures, you're going to store that in a second box, but if you just want the base game stuff, and not the base game, if you want everything else, that will all store in this Cloud Storage box over here. So if you want a single box of Fix and Italics, that's there for you. There's also the 20 Strong Cloudspire over here. You can get 20 Strong Cloudspire. It's basically going to be a tower defense version of 20 Strong, so if you want to see that in a 20 Strong game, they have that as available as well. Fun fact over here, if you're just here for 20 Strong Cloudspire, you might want to skip on this campaign because there is $10 flat rate shipping on everything, which means this might not be your best opportunity to get 20 Strong Cloudspire if it's the only thing you're getting. That said, if you're getting other stuff, it's definitely a great opportunity to get your hands on 20 Strong Cloudspire. The why back now probably covers over here. We have this is the end of Cloudspire. The pricing is usually slightly more competitive on campaigns. Chip 3 in general doesn't have a strong retail availability. They kind of have, here's our campaigns, buy the stuff in the web store instead if you want, and they have, they usually give you a discount on pricing, on an actual discount on pricing in the campaigns, so you do save a little bit, you get all the various things, but effectively this is, well, there's a few reasons. The main reason you're going to want this is because it's the end for Cloudspire. Past that, you are likely looking at the best shipping options for some of the stuff over here. Best pricing options for some of the stuff, but not by a huge margin. You're saving a little bit, nothing crazy. And then stretch pay and make your voice heard, get it first, all those other things. As far as the rewards over here, we have the Harbinger gameplay bundle, giving you Harbinger plus the 3 expansions, the 3 factions for $110. We have the Cloudspire Blaze plus new factions for $240. We have the all new things bundle, minus 20 strong, for $290. That's giving you all the new stuff, including the miniatures and the cloud storage and all that. We have the all gameplay bundle, old and new, for $365. That's gameplay only. It's not all the deluxe everything. And we have the Become a Strategist, which is gone already. And we have the Cloudspire all in for $665 for the completionist amongst you, which would be 332 of you who decided to go all in on Cloudspire. Kudos to you. It's a great system. You're going to be a bit overwhelmed at first, but it is a great system. That's basically that. As far as should you back or should you not, will hold its value? I think it will. This is a weird one because I don't remember, maybe they've done it in the past, but I don't remember Chip 3 ever being like, hey, this stuff's the last chance. Like, the last 20 Bones campaign, they may have said, did they say it was the last campaign? I don't remember. Maybe they did. But either way, in general, when you back a Chip 3 game, in general, the main thing you're getting is early access and slightly better pricing on stuff that does hold its value generally on the secondhand market. So usually it's already like hey, you could wait and you're not losing out that much, but you can get it now and you're probably not losing. You might even be gaining if you get it now. This one's slightly different because there's also content here that will not be readily available. The Trove Chest in particular, the Trove Chest for Too Many Bones has done tremendously well. People are always hunting those down. Those do a really great job in the secondhand market. If you find you don't like the game and you have a Trove Chest, you're good to go. I assume that'll be true with the cloud storage here as well. So if this is a game that you love, there's a lot of money you can spend on this game. You can spend more on this game than you could on a console, which is a little insane sometimes to think about, but you can do that. But if you like the game, at least you like the game. If you don't like the game, depending on what you get, you probably can't get most of your money back. If you're just getting the Cloudspire core box, get that on the secondhand market. But if you're getting some of the new stuff or other things like that, or the cloud storage, those are things that will likely hold their value if this is a game that's not for you. Moving on over here, and I think we have 3 more campaigns to go through. We're doing decently on time. We have Invincible, the card game. 820 backers, 11 days to go, $68,000 raised, $69,000 raised. Invincible, the card game, bringing you Astro-Knights, but rethemed to Invincible and compatible for those who want, although you will need sleeves. That's a different conversation. Anyways, Astro-Knights is a version of Aeon Zen from Indie Boards and Cards. They have Aeon Zen, which is a hugely popular line. They have Astro-Knights, which kind of takes the same core gameplay, but some slight differences. It's a rotating card market instead of, it's a rotating card market instead of a fixed card market. Some changes to the way the heroes operate, some small changes, small quality life changes. Basically think Terraforming Mars and think Ares Expedition. Ares Expedition versus Terraforming Mars. That's the kind of difference you're looking at between Aeon Zen and Invincible, the card game, and Astro-Knights. But now we have Invincible, the card game, which is a new version of Astro-Knights. Completely standalone game. You do not need Astro-Knights at all. You can mix and match if you have sleeves. So you will need sleeves to make sure the backs match. And then past that, there's some terminology changes. So like something that's called charge in one game might be called run in the other game. I'm making those up, but just to give an example, there are some terminology things that you'll have to learn that what means the same thing. I assume licensing reasons or stuff like that. I don't know. But the point is, it's mostly cross-compatible. There's some hoops you have to jump through from sleeves and knowing things like that. But outside of that, the basic idea of the game is you're going to have a a hero. You're going to be trying to build up your deck in this deck builder with the rotating card market. Cards going to be coming through. You buy them, you build up your deck. You do not shuffle your deck, so you can control the order of your combos as you go, giving yourself more and more control for the sequence of cards you're going to be playing in order. And then you try to take down the villains, and the villains are going to be slowly recruiting more and more minions and getting more and more powerful. So you need to power yourself up and take down the villains before they take down you, going through an escalating level of villains in the game. Now, the game also has a campaign mode where you can go through a sequence of 4 villains in a row, and those campaigns have a few ways they operate, but in the case of Invincible, the card game, they're going to give you a pre-scripted campaign as well to take you through the storyline of the first season of Invincible if you watch that over on Amazon. If you have not watched that over on Amazon, you should totally watch that over on Amazon. It's a great show. Anyways, the Mark Grayson starter pack over here is going to be $50. That's going to include the base game of Invincible, as well as the 2 expansions over here. The first being an actual expansion, and the other one being the various stretch goal components that are going to be added throughout the campaign. Those are the 2 things you're getting over there. In fact, let's see if we can scroll down to the what's in the box, or the old guard, or where is this? Let's just scroll down. Let's just scroll down over here on the page, try to show you some stuff. We have the various villains, we have the heroes, and we have over here what's inside the base game. So the base game is going to have these 6 heroes over here. We're going to have the villains, Titan, Sinclair, the Flaxons, and Omni-Man, again going through that sequence of the TV show. I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but I guess it's already a spoiler. I'm sorry. Anyways, that's not my fault. That's just if you're like, I'm sorry. There's only so much you can do. Anyways, 18 card dividers over here. We have the old guard over here, an expansion giving you 2 new heroes, a new villain, and some more player cards, deck boxes, card dividers, all those stuff. And then we have the new recruits over here, which is the milestone expansion. This is giving you the daily rewards you're going to see every day, which we don't have a ton yet so far, but we have, Invincible, you're Invincible, we have a new hero, Shrinking Ray, we have a new weapons, and new cities, new fuel cards, so things will be added, already including at least 1 new hero. We'll see if there are villains added as well. And then over the pledges you can see over here, so we have the base game as well as the 2 expansions. We have the Invincible bundle over here, which is also going to give you the playmats and the accessory pack for an additional $40, and then for an additional $30 on top of that, you're going to be getting, additionally on top of that, you're getting the 4 players, so each individual player is going to get their own playmat, and then you have on top of that, for $135, giving you card sleeves as well. And then the gameplay bundle is giving you all gameplay for Invincible and for Astronites. This is just gameplay. So some of the things you saw in the previous bundles are being removed, but you're getting gameplay for all the things now instead. And then for $265, you can get basically every single thing you can get for the game, or I assume it's everything because they call it the everything bundle. I hate it when they do everything bundles and don't include everything without telling you. At least tell people it's not everything, but it sounds like it's everything. That's basically what you have as far as the all the various add-ons, expansions, all those things. And then shipping over here, shipping is going to run you anywhere between $18 all the way up to $50 depending on what you get. That $50 definitely adds up very quickly. Anyways, as far as should you back or should you not will its value, hard to say because if you look at the original Astronites has done fine in the secondhand market. For the most part, people can usually get what they paid for it back, but they are losing basically on shipping, so it's fine-ish. I think Invincible, on the one hand, I'd say Invincible is going to be bringing more people, it's an IP, it's a well-liked TV show, so that will do better. On the other hand, if you look at the actual numbers in the campaign, they're doing about par to the previous Astronites campaigns, so I have a hard time knowing for sure whether this is going to do better, or whether it's just going to do about par. So I'd say this one is likely one that if you do want it, you can likely get most of your money back. Whether you'll get all of it back or not, that kind of depends. I would have thought this would do better, but it's just doing par. So that's where we are with this. Moving on, we have Camp Season. Design, build, and manage your own campgrounds. 2,000 backers, $219,000 raised, 14 days to go. Coming to you from the people who brought you Bear Mountain Camping Adventure. Was that what it's called? I think it was called that. Anyways, Camping Season over here from Sweater Bear Games brings you a game which you're going to be managing your campsite. You're going to have a campsite. You're going to be trying to build up and deluxify your campsite. You're going to be adding various campgrounds where players can go ahead and, well, people can come, not players. You're going to be expanding your campgrounds so that when visitors come, they have places to go. You're expanding your facilities in different ways, but all those things are going to require maintenance. You need to balance the maintenance of things. You need to balance the cost of things. You need to balance doing what's right for you before you get to the step of the game where you're going to be drawing the various visitors and seeing who enters your park in different ways. There's a lot going on here. I'm not doing a deep dive into the various things. You can go through the campaign page if you want more of a deep dive into them. But basically, you are managing your campgrounds with a degree of tableau building and a degree of bag pulling, and then trying to make sure that everything works out before things go not so. Nothing goes south in this game. It's not that kind of game. But it's just to see who can do it better than the other players in Camping Season. As far as pledge levels are here, pledge levels are a lot. We have the pledge tiers are going to be $49 for the retail edition. We have $79 for the deluxe edition. That's giving you the deluxe edition box, but also it's giving you 500 premium wood tokens instead of punchboard for all tokens. So $30 is giving you a whole lot of tokens. For $95, you have the Campfire Bundle, where you're going to go ahead and get the Holiday Season Mini Expansion and Excursions Mini Expansion on top of the Deluxe as well. Then for the All-In Collector's Bundle, which is a big jump over there, $95 takes you to $299 to give you the first Deluxe Edition for the 5-6 player, the Excursions, the Holiday Season, 6 custom dice towers. That's going to be 6 different custom dice towers, 6 metal money dials, and 1 card sleeve pack. There's a whole lot of extra things being added there, but that is more than most of you should get or need for the All-In. That said, there's like 400 of you who have bought this, so enjoy. As far as the shipping's going to run you over here. We're going to look at between $19 and $28, depending on what you get over here. So that's going to be not too unreasonable, very reasonable relative to the price points you're getting here. As far as should you back or should you not, will hold its value. Hard to say. It's very hard to say in this one because looking at their last game, the last game hasn't really delivered yet. So we're still waiting on when that one shows up and seeing how that one does in secondary market to see if this one does hold its value. In general, this falls into a trend similar to Botany where they're managing to target a certain segment of crowdfunding, which is a little interesting. Like they're doing very well. Like they've had like these campaigns which are very nature themed, pulling in new audiences. That also means it's hard to see how these things are doing until you actually see. With Botany, things are doing pretty well. So I'd say there's a decent chance this stuff holds its value, but it's hard to say for sure. They're giving you a lot of content, but also at a lot of price points overall, and it's hard to say exactly where these things will go. Again, I really only have Botany to look at, which is not a lot. So I definitely put this in the category of it's a risk. Could go either way, which might work out well for you. And then lastly today, we have West Story, a town building game from Smart Flamingo. 37,000 euro raised, 600 backers, 14 days left to go. This one's going to be giving you a deck building, tableau building game with set collection and a whole lot of things. And yes, tableau building and deck building, tableau building, and deck building have overlap, but just going to scroll down to the how to play over here, you're basically going to have gathering your team of up to 4 players, build your Wild West town, purchasing cards from the market to your board, giving you different available actions and victory points, and then rolling the dice, marking actions in both rows over here to activate the actions, gaining coins, and then moving your cowboy meeples around the board to go ahead and trade with towns, as well as dealing with the various villains on the way. And then the game, score for all your cards, villain tokens, as well as wild animal cards, and that's basically a tableau building game with very card dependent. A lot of this is going to come down to what the cards you're getting and how those all implement and work together. But basically, as far as the pledge levels go over here, we have the following. We have a 83 euro for the all-in, which gives you the base game as well as the Pioneers expansion. The Pioneers expansion is going to be a mix of different modules, including the solo mode. So if you want the solo mode, you will need the Pioneers expansion. That was, I believe, free for the first 2 days. So if you are back on the first 2 days, that was free. Otherwise, you have to pay for it now. We have 30 euro, which is very affordable for the core game, the core box. We have 63 euro for the early bird. Oh, that's gone already. Sorry. That's basically what we got over here. So 83 euro for the all-in. Keep in mind the all-in's including deluxe components. So you don't need that. You could just spend 30 euro on the base game over here and then get the expansion over here as for 20 euro and just call it 50 euro for everything, which is a big early bird, by the way. That's a 30 euro game and 20 euro expansion, and the 20 euro expansion is an early bird freebie. That is a big freebie for those who got in early, which again helps their early numbers, but always makes people feel a little left out down the road. So again, always a bit of a pro and a con in that column. As far as shipping's going to be the big problem over here because shipping's going to run you around 30 euro over here. 30 euro for the base game over here. It means if you want just the base game, your 30 euro game just became 60 euro from shipping alone. That's a big deal over here. The game does look cool. The overall, everything looks solid overall. Art looks solid, games look solid, mechanics look solid. I'm guessing the high shipping is the main thing, pulling it back from not doing as well. It is a bitter pill to swallow to say, hey, $30 and then 30 euro, and then boom, the price gets doubled if you want to get it actually shipped to you. That's always, and it's not their problem, that's the way it works, but I think having that ratio, honestly, I think it would have done better. There's always those number games. I think the game would have done better had they had 40 euro for the pledge and then 20 euro for shipping. Same math in the end, but it doesn't feel as bad. Like that huge shipping price always just feels so hard to swallow in general. That's basically, as far as should you back, should you not, will hold its value. I'm skeptical it will because of the shipping. Again, perceptionally, people are now thinking of this as a 30 euro game. If you ask for 60 euro down the road for it, people are going to think, well, it's a 30 euro game, you're going to lose your shipping, and that's a big chunk of the game right there. So as far as should you back, should you not, will hold its value, I think it's less likely to hold its value overall. That's basically as far as what we have over here, which brings us to our picks of the week. In general, picks of the week are going to have two things: the game that is my personal interest pick of the week, the game I want to play the most, and then the game that I think is most likely to hold its value. As far as the value pick of the week, I'm going to give that to Twisted Cryptids. I think that this one overall, these do well in the secondary market. It is what it is. They may not be my go-to type of game, but they ultimately do incredibly well in the secondary market. And then my personal interest pick of the week is going to go to Cloudspire because I love Cloudspire, and more Cloudspire isn't necessarily needed because I don't play through my Cloudspire as much as I should compared to other Chip 3 games, but I do still like Cloudspire enough that I'm still excited for it, and especially that Trove Chest in particular, by the way, not Trove Chest, the Cloud Storage, because I don't know about you, but my Cloudspire has the worst storage from all the Chip 3 games I own. It is the least Calyx fitting with all the types of things they have. So the idea of giving you a box where everything fits in a Calyx, that alone has me incredibly interested in this campaign. In any case, that's basically what we have now, which means it's time for our upcoming campaigns. Upcoming campaigns, we have two over here. We have Knitting Circle launching shortly on Kickstarter, a follow-up to, Calico, but it's not Calico in any way, it's just from Flat Out Games, and it's Calico themed, but no other differences. Well, that's not true. I think they are going to have some promo packs or something that is going to allow you to like have some way from the Knitting Circle to do something new in Calico, if I recall correctly. And then additionally, we also have a Zero Day over here. Zeroday.exe from Pudcat Games is going to be a roguelike kind of a slightly skirmish game, solo and cooperative game of going through the dungeon kind of stuff and scenarios and all that as you power up your characters in the game. And that's basically everything. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I appreciate you being here, and as always, I hope you have a good one. I just found out that my brother's in prison for having a really bad stutter. It's heartbreaking not knowing if he'll ever finish his sentence.